Hello, Leo, and welcome to your April 2025 tarot card reading. Let's go ahead and get started here with an oracle card. So, what is it that Leo needs to know for April 2025? It says your commitment is being tested. So, there might be some challenges when it comes to your goals and your obligations and things like that. But, the best thing you can do is keep going, right? The best thing you can do is just kind of chug forward, and you don't want to pull back. You don't want to shrink, you don't want to renege, you just want to continue going, even though there may be some times when maybe it feels a little overwhelming or it feels a lot more challenging than normal. This is going to be a one day at a time type of deal. That's going to be really where the success is found. One of the things that we have going on throughout the first part of April, anyway, is Venus is still retrograding until April 12th. But as she's retrograding, she's building up to this conjunction with Saturn. And when she stations, she's going to station like within a degree of Saturn. So she's very, very close to Saturn, which means that Saturnine energy is quite prominent. And so structure and management and focus and dedication, it's all going to be a pretty significant theme. So perseverance is going to be a part of that as well. We don't want to slink away and hide in the shadows, right? We want to stand up, stand firm, stand in the light, and just really keep going. And I think that's going to be the biggest showcase of bravery. Okay, so let's see what comes through with the Animal Spirit deck. What is it that Leo needs to know for April? We have, it's time to heal. And healing right now, I'm not saying there's no inner child work or inner dark shadow stuff. I mean, we do have a Mars in Cancer. Okay, so that could be a part of it. But I think the majority of the healing is just found in success. The majority of healing is found in accomplishment and doing the things that you say you're going to do. It is found in working progressively toward a bigger goal and a bigger vision that contributes to the world in a positive way. Okay, so your creation energy will likely start coming back online in a big way once Mars comes back into Leo on the 18th, so later in April. But I think you'll feel that build up before that. So there's going to be a lot of healing in your creativity as well, in your artistic nature. Now, not all of you are like artists, but I do think there are artistic things that we can do and apply in any area of life. So we want to kind of tap into that element of art within our life. So let's see what comes through here. With the tarot. Okay, a lot of choices. Starting off pretty mild, I would say. These cards are, they're not major arcana, they are minor arcana, and they're pretty benign. But I do think, first of all, I think there's a lot going on, right? Commitment is being tested. So obviously, if there's a test going on, there has to be a lot of stuff going on. There has to be a complication. There has to be some type of challenge or obstacle or adversarial force. And it's putting us in a position where we have to start to choose. Okay, so there does seem to be a lot of choice that emerges here. Two of Swords often does feel like we are at a crossroads. And I think the hardest part about this card is that we really can't see which one is best. It's like, well, we could go left and that seems to be okay, but right also seems to be okay. So which one is really going to get me to my target? The fastest, the easiest, the best, whatever. I just don't think you're going to know that. I think the trick with the Two of Swords is that you have to just pick one, pick a side, pick a path, and go for it full on without any regret or any buyer's remorse, and without any desire to maybe say, oh, well, maybe I should have gone the other way. We have to really lock in when it comes to that Two of Swords. Once we've chosen we have to just trust that that was the correct thing. And one thing I want to just point out with these first three cards, look at how blue these are. There's a lot of blue here, and blue is a color so deeply associated with our intuition and truth, and not like our perceived truth or our lived experience or whatever, but not that that's invalid, but I think this is like the higher truth. Okay, so I don't think there's any wrong choice, but I don't want you to feel like there was a wrong choice. And I don't want you to feel like maybe you did make the wrong choice, because I don't think you are, or you do, or you will. I think no matter what happens, all roads lead to Rome. Okay? Two of Coins suggests, again, there's a lot going on. You have a lot of balls in the air, right? You're juggling a lot. You're trying to balance a lot, work-life balance, spiritual practice with practicality, all that kind of stuff. And it does feel a little bit tumultuous. There's a lot of kind of choppiness, if you will. This does not feel like the smoothest situation, and there are going to be times where you're just going to have to prioritize one thing over the other. Now, normally with that Two of Coins, I say sometimes things have to be deprioritized. I don't think that's the case for you right now, Leo. Okay, I think everything needs to be prioritized. Everything needs to be done. It's just a matter of what gets done first. I guess technically that's higher priority, but you get the idea. It's not like you're completely moving anything down to the bottom of the list. Everything still stays on the list, and you're just going to have to start plunking along and keep going and doing one thing at a time. Page of Wands is the reminder of day to day. Okay, it's small steps, and also a reminder of how important your attitude is towards stuff. Because if you go in a little grumpy or a little sour or a little kind of angry or upset and like, oh, I can't believe I have to do all this, it's just kind of ruined the experience. And I don't think the healing is going to really take place if that's the case. I think we have to go into it and say, you know what? I'm going to show up. I'm going to do my best. This is going to be great. I'm excited. It's a lot, but I'm going to do it, and it's going to be wonderful. And I think your attitude matters. I think your attitude really infuses a great deal of magic into the projects. And because there is an element of art and creativity and kind of your artisticness coming forward, we really want to make sure that we are infusing our art with the best possible energy that we can. Okay, so let's see what else comes out. Second row, what else does Leo need to know here? So the Five of Swords seems like the real test. Now, keeping in mind that Venus is doing what she's doing, retrograding and coming back into contact with Saturn. Now, this is around this time, Five of Swords, it's around that time that Venus conjuncts Saturn and stations direct. And while I like the productivity and the function and the structure of that particular astrological transit, Saturn can certainly present challenges, okay? And he can present blockages and frustrations and all that. So Five of Swords seems to indicate that, yes, Leo, you're not going to escape that, especially because this is happening in your 8th house, by the way. It's a very potent house. And it's just, we are going to have to deal with people, probably. We're going to have to deal with others, and I see that with the Five of Swords. And I think one of the problems with the Five of Swords that bothers us as human beings the most is that the Five of Swords is kind of a no-win type of situation, that you can fight and you can argue and you can even lay out the best argument possible, but there's still no winning there. And this might be with a person, this might be a situation, it might be some kind of a loop that you're trapped in. And it's like, no matter what you do or what you say, it really doesn't matter. And it's just going to continue to be the same outcome. It's kind of like trying to argue with like a narcissist or something. It's like, it's never going to be logical. It's never going to work out in your favor. You're never going to convince anyone of anything. And it's going to be a time where you really just have to walk away. Or someone is going to have to walk away, because even if you did win, quote unquote, or you did get your way, it would be so sour, it would be so tainted that it wouldn't even be enjoyable, right? So it's just like, well, what even is the point? And this is a moment where Saturn is absolutely going to represent some kind of an ending. Now, it's Aries season at this point, so we are looking more for things to start growing, start blossoming, start kind of getting bigger. We're certainly looking for that, but maybe there's still some carryover. There's always going to be things coming and going, no matter what season it is, no matter what time of year, no matter what. There's always things coming and going. And I feel like right now there's certainly a lot blooming and a lot that you need to make room for. But this is one of those things, it's like, it's got to go. You got to walk away, you got to step off. And that Emperor, I think, is mirroring this. Your commitment is being tested, because this can derail us sometimes. This can put a wrench in our spokes, but I don't think the Emperor is going to allow a wrench to be thrown in our spokes. It's just simply not going to happen. What the Emperor is going to do is the Emperor is going to take a look at his life. You, Leo, you're going to look at your life. You're going to look at what you need and where you're going, and you are going to make some very important decisions, and you're going to, discern where your energy is better spent. And one thing with the Emperor is he does have his armor on underneath his robes. And I think that's a very important point to keep in mind, because there is a hardness to the Emperor. Okay, he has the ability to wall off or to block off if he needs to. And I think there's going to be something where you're going to need to do it for the sake of the greater commitment. You're going to need to stand firm and strong and to continually, one of the things, I don't talk about this all that often, but, throughout my studies of the tarot, one of the themes that keeps coming up about this particular Rider-Waite deck are the kind of stone thrones that some of the kings and royalty cards are, or court cards are, in him included, are sitting on. He's sitting on a stone throne. And that stone represents the philosopher's stone. It represents like the ancient truths and things like that. And so when you're sitting on top of something, it means you are not only well supported by that thing, but that you have also conquered that thing as well. And I feel like you have conquered a truth, you've conquered a way of life, a way of being, and you don't have to waver on that. So whatever temptation is there, I just simply don't see you falling for it, okay? And I see you standing firm as you should. Now, the Knight of Cups, I think on one hand probably is you. It's your optimism and your sense of like leading with your heart toward the bigger goal, toward the higher commitment and whatnot. But I also think it's other people. It's probably someone from the Five of Swords. There does seem to be some kind of a little bit of a ricochet against the Emperor, right? He's kind of looking in that direction. This one's walking in that direction. So they're both kind of pulling away from the Emperor, where the Emperor, also a lot of blue. Look, this is the only kind of orange-red card that we have. It's like very bright. And so it does seem to be shining from the very center. Now, obviously, we're going to pull 3 more cards, so that whole color theory may go right out the window. But for now, right, this is in the base foundation position, the middle center, or the center bottom, rather, of the 6 cards. And, I mean, it's strong, so everything seems to be radiating from the Emperor, okay? But with all the blue, there's truth. So there is a radiance of truth, but with the orange and red, we're really operating from that more primal place, which I think in many ways is a more truthful place, okay? So let's see what else comes through here for Leo. More blue. Okay. I mean, in terms of the sky, I mean, I know there's like yellow and orange and stuff and all these other cards too, but you get the idea. Just a lot of blue. So Six of Cups, there does seem to be, now this, by the way, is when we start to transition. So on the 18th of April, that is when Mars comes into Leo again. And then the next day, on the 19th, that is when Taurus season begins. So this is the transition between the 18th and the 19th, okay? So by here, we are in Taurus season at that point. So Taurus season begins, and it seems to start off with some kind of an act of generosity here. It seems to start with a gift or something nostalgic, something that reminds you of the past. Maybe there is someone from the past that comes back. I don't know that that's really that big of a deal. However, if it is some type of a gift or an act of generosity, my recommendation is, if it's coming toward you, please take it. If it's an opportunity for you to give to someone else, please give. All right, this is a Leo thing anyway. I think Leo is one of those zodiac signs. It's just extremely generous for the most part. Especially when it comes to people that they love and they care about in their family. It's one of the most generous signs that there possibly could be. So I'm not concerned about your sense of generosity, but I am a little bit more concerned that if you're in need, that you may be struggling to really accept. Okay, so this is a time where I wouldn't be afraid to take if you need to take, right? If you need resources, if you need help, if you need emotional support, please let other people be there for you in the same way that you would let them, that you would want them to, the way that you would be there for them. There does seem to be some kind of an exchange that goes on here. And I do like the exchange. I think it's positive. I think it's good. I think it speaks a little bit more toward the emotion of things, not necessarily actual money or anything like that, although it could be something like that. But I think it's a little bit more emotion, or I don't know, something that helps you or you can help them, or whatever the case is. We'll clarify that a little bit when we pull out the clarifiers. And then we have this Knight of Wands. And I do get the sense this is you, where this knight here, I mean, like, yes, it is you kind of following your heart toward the bigger picture, toward the dream, but it is also other people that don't fit within that dream that are starting to kind of fall off. Whereas this knight here, as a supportive or foundational card for the Emperor, really feels like your overall sense of optimism, which I saw with the page as well. And I think there's an element of excitement that really starts to come online in Taurus season, because this is kind of a rambunctious quality. You know, it is. It's flamboyant, it's fun, it's showy, it's entertaining. Like, this is a really fun card, where the Emperor is more serious, and I think he has to be in response to the Five of Swords. Like, he really has to be, you know, strong, walled up, that kind of thing. Whereas here, I don't think you have to have that as much. And I think you can, there's a lot more freedom. So I think in Taurus season, you're going to start to feel the effects of that freedom, and you're going to start to feel like, oh, I don't have such tight restrictions on me anymore. And this is a place where I think you can really thrive. And I think whatever this commitment demands, you can handle very easily, okay? Simply because you do have, that's why the attitude matters. That's why the attitude matters, because eventually you're going to come here and you want to be in that Knight of Wands position, because he can make things happen in leaps and bounds, okay? The speed at which things happen can be exponentially faster. The High Priestess comes through and speaks to, I think, more of the healing aspect of all of this. And I think the Knight of Wands is actually quite healing. The Emperor might be as well. This whole process of like things ricocheting and things moving on and all of that, I think generally that's a pretty healing process, because you remove complications. these people, these situations, these circumstances, the things that don't resonate with you, they are in fact complications. They are in fact distractions. They are in fact things that drain your energetic resource to prevent you from the ultimate goal of living the type of life that you see for yourself. Okay? And the High Priestess, I think, is, probably to some degree revealing little informations to you, like little healing moments, healing thoughts. There could be some forgiveness, there could be some repressed memories that come up, and you're like, oh, okay, now you can deal with it and you can move on. And I think there's a nice, easy, even flow that happens with that priestess. But also I am kind of sensing an element of privacy and secrecy there as well. Like maybe this is something that not a lot of people really know or understand. There seems to be things going on behind the scenes that you are experiencing, and not everyone is privy to that information. Not everyone sees it, not everyone engages with it, not everyone cares. And so I think that you enjoy the privacy quite a bit. You enjoy being able to kind of just process and go through all of this on your own without having all of that public input. The only public input you need is to know like who's in your team and who's not, right? And clearly there are people who are showing you that they are not on your team, and that makes life so much easier for you. Like really, really, truly a lot easier. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the clarifier. So we're going to open up all these cards and we're going to talk about them in much more detail, another 25 to 30 minutes or so on the next reading in the comprehensive. So if you want to join for the comprehensive, the link will be in the description box in the comment thread down below. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what the clarifiers have to say about this reading, get a little bit deeper. Okay, Leo, so what is it that the Two of Swords, what do you need to know about the Two of Swords here? These choices. Another Five of Swords has been making the rounds this month, I gotta say. Four of Cups. Two of Wands. Seven of Swords. Nine of Wands. Ten of Swords. Hermit. The Moon. I think, Leo, you're actually taking some pretty big leaps of faith. I really do. I think you're taking some pretty big leaps of faith, and you're like, all right, whatever shall be, shall be. King of Coins. Hanged Man, Justice, Ten of Coins, Empress, Emperor, another Emperor, Ten of Wands, Ace of Cups, beautiful, Star, Four of Coins. Okay, I really think that Six of Cups is important. We have the Chariot. Ooh, the Lovers. Five of Wands. I do really like that Knight of Wands a lot. Oh, another High Priestess. I'm going to pull out 4 cards since we got a repeat. King of Swords. Three of Wands. Now one more. And Two of Cups. Beautiful. Okay, Leo, this is where we're going to pick up. So if you want to join, the link is in the description box in the comment thread down below. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a lovely April, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.